Oscar for Sinners, calling it a DEI award. He says Jordan's performance was mid and the film hot garbage, though fans argue his dual role earned him that win. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Baja Fresh on Thursday, April 2nd for National Burrito Day. Grab a Baja Burrito with chicken for just $5. Fresh ingredients, bold flavor, one amazing deal. Available in-store only on April 2nd, so don't miss it. Eat well, live fresh at Baja Fresh. Valid at participating locations.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The season is over for the UCLA men's basketball team. They lost to UConn Sunday night in the second round of the NCAA tournament. UConn beat the Bruins 73-57. The Bruins finished the season at 24-12. There will be a new national champion in the men's tournament. Florida, the defending national champion, was upset Sunday by Iowa 73-72. Iowa is one of 6 Big Ten teams advancing to the Sweet 16. In the NCAA women's tournament, UCLA and USC have second-round games tonight. USC is at South Carolina, 5 p.m. tip-off on ESPN. UCLA is at home against Oklahoma State, 7 p.m. tip on ESPN. UCLA is going for their 27th straight win. The Lakers and Clippers are on the court tonight. The Lakers are at Detroit. The Lakers are trying to extend their winning streak to 10. The Clippers are at home against Milwaukee. A win puts the Clippers back at 500. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Girls, who run the world? Girls, who run this mother?
Women's History Month doesn't end. It crescendos. This Friday on KBLA Talk 1580. It's a total takeover. All day, all night. Women's voices only. Santita Jackson and Amanda Seals join our all-star lineup of women talkers as special guest host for the day. Oh my God! And our lineup of guests includes entrepreneurs, poets, elected officials, authors, activists, creatives, and music artists, including the Grammy Award-winning Faith Evans.
I never knew there was love like this before.
And Guapale. There's only one Faith Evans, and 25 years after she asked us to get closer, Guapale also comes live in studio to celebrate the debut album that became a classic. This Friday, only on KBLA Talk 1580. Tune in, turn it up. This one's ours.
We run this mother. 21. Oh, life has just begun. Got a temper like a gun, pointing it at everyone. That's his game, and it helps him to get through the day. But a voice inside him says, how much longer can I play? He's got infinite possibilities, I can see them now. It's the unbroken chain of his past by which he's bound.
It's time to set our intentions, set our self-care, and find our focus. This is Mindful Mondays with Saharah Ali on KBLA Talk 1580.
And we are blessed to start our week with a life coach. She is a sound healer, a sound bath specialist, an astrologer, numerologist, yoga instructor, meditation teacher, and so much more. Time for Mindful Mondays with Saharah Ali. Good morning, Saharah.
Good morning, Dominique, and good morning, KBLA family. Welcome to Mindful Monday, where we get our minds right for the week by setting positive intentions to honor our mind and body through meditation, prayer, and affirmation as we step unapologetically into our week, being on purpose with faith, truth, power, and wisdom. We're having a celestial overload this week with the stellium in Aries, kicking off the real new year of 2026, creating combustible environments requiring thoughtful, disciplined actions rather than impulsive, emotional responses. It's touching our souls, challenging us to remember we matter, and it's safe to speak our truth, stand in our power, and honor our intuition. Reality is being rewritten to reset all things, creating inner and outer change. The call to action is to serve as architects for our future, fostering elevated awareness through self-realization and self-love. The forward movement of Mercury in Pisces until mid-April stirs the pot. It stirs the pot, forging acceptance of reality, uncovering deception and deceit, anchoring new beginnings with bravery, connecting to free will choice. Now is the time to become the best you. Now is the time to step into the light of wholeness, graced by integrity, hard work, and consistency. We benefit by knowing truth is truth and let go of any and all things limiting the unfoldment of fulfillment and any new beginnings. Now is the time to be prayed up, trusting your inner wisdom to navigate wholeness and aligning our lives and our souls with clarity to what is rightfully ours with grace and ease. You know, Aries is about I am one with God, I am one with my wholeness, and Aries is a Mars ruled, and it's fire. And so we're required at this time to stand in our power, and you know, Mars is in Pisces, challenging us to overcome any deceit that is around us, any deception, and even the lies we tell ourselves. So as we go forward with our Mindful Monday meditation, mindfully bring your awareness to your breath and connect with the wholeness within you, and look and see where are the lies you're telling yourself that allows you to stay stagnant in any situation, and where is deception being played out in your life and you are accepting it because you're afraid to embrace your truth. So going forward with our Mindful Monday meditation, breathe in consciousness, breathe in truth, breathe in courage, breathe in the power you have to be in truth, to be in light, and to be bold and let go. Take a breath. And as you exhale, be in this moment right here, right now, one with your breath. Relax and breathe. And sit with honoring self-love. Sit with connecting to the Most High. Give yourself permission to call on your angels and your ancestors to surrender all aspects of your life and open your heart and mind to truth and to start with standing in your power. Breathe, relax, and call on your soul's truth, your soul's purpose, and allow yourself to receive divine guidance. Relax, feel centered, and connect with your inner wisdom. Connect with your intuition, and allow yourself to release whoever or whatever is blocking your fulfillment, blocking change that you seek, and preventing you from giving yourself permission to rebirth and change. Allow yourself to connect to your wholeness and take a breath. Hold that breath for a moment. And when you exhale, commit to doing and being the best you for a successful future. Give yourself permission to promise to be the change you seek for your wholeness. Just breathe, willingly embracing a new perspective and integrating truth, integrating integrity, integrating self-love, to say no, to say yes to yourself. Lean into the greatness of who you are. Relax and in full trust and listen with inner vision. And allow yourself to just sit quiet and integrate these things we've just shared and connect to our Mindful Monday affirmation. Think about the truth you would like to see in your life. Think about what it is that you really need to let go of that's impeding the joy that you seek. Think about how bold you are going to be taking the trash out. So now take the biggest breath you've had all morning and place your hands over your heart. And as you exhale, listen with love and compassion to our Mindful Monday affirmation for the week. Today, I embrace the truth and power of my inner wisdom. manifesting change, unfolding my highest good with grace and ease. Today, I embrace the truth and power of my inner wisdom, manifesting change, unfolding my highest good with grace and ease. Relax and bring your awareness back to present time and give yourself permission to sit with this wisdom, to embrace truth, honoring the power of your inner wisdom to manifest change, unfolding miracles in your life to manifest your highest good with grace and ease. Allow yourself to sit with, connecting to the wisdom in the world behind your eyes to create change. Relax and know every day, every single day of your life is always divinely guided. Take a breath, relax, release your palms onto your thighs, and bringing your awareness back to present time. And remember to embrace the truth and power of your inner wisdom to manifest change, unfolding your highest good with grace and ease. Thank you, Dominique, Tabitha Smiley, Miles, and the 1580 KBLA family. Have an unapologetic, mindfully blessed week, honoring yourself, celebrating yourself, and connecting to the wisdom within you.
Saharah, I got a few questions for you. I hope you're not in a rush right now.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so first of all, you talked about the stellium in Aries. Stellium means
4 or more planets in one sign.
4 or more planets. Okay, so that's why you said, why I said Aries on steroids. It's a stellium, 4 planets in Aries, lots of Aries, fiery Aries energy.
Exactly. Dancing with Mars and Pisces. Mars and Pisces, Mars is power. It's ruled by Aries, but it's in Pisces, which is at a fall in a sense. But Pisces is like the trickster, the energy of deception. It's like, a Neptune effect, so you don't always see your actions. But what it does is bring deceptive action to the surface. And with the stellium in Aries, usually that deceptive action is centered around individuals, because Aries is an individual, as I am. It's a Mars ruled, but it is also where we give ourselves permission to trust and know our oneness, right. Our oneness with God, the oneness with ourselves and our truth. And so, whenever Mars is in Pisces, the truth is always revealed.
So, on that note, Mark Zuckerberg has decided to kind of move away from the metaverse, which he has spent tens of billions of dollars building up, and now he's kind of backing away from it. And it's one of those things that I'm not a tech expert, but I do have I have an extra portion of common sense, and I kind of thought that was BS all along. I mean, fine, have an imaginary world or whatever, but it's like the NFTs. People were thinking they were going to be worth all this money. People were spending money on a thing that's not a thing. And a lot of people lost a lot of money on that. Now he's moving away from the metaverse because it's not profitable. And to me, that seems like a classic example of what you're talking about, figuring out what's true and what's hype.
Right. And so, I'm going to put it this way. They say, who run the world? Girls. I'll say, what runs the world? Greed. Greed. We are all caught up in this whole witnessing of greed as we are in a most powerful time in our lives. I'm going to put it this way, and I've been talking to my clients like this. If you and I heard it on Instagram from this speaker, if you put a frog in a pot on the stove and the water is cold and you turn the heat on, you slowly cook that frog will not jump out.
Yeah.
But if you put the frog in boiling water, he's going to jump out.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of like the classic, that's like a classic example. So I don't think it was just that one speaker. Like, if you slowly heat it up, we don't notice that we're boiling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. We are slowly boiling. And we are slowly allowing ourselves to be desensitized to the reality of things that are going on for us in our lives in this planet. And the goal is, like we said, to connect to the world behind your eyes and to deal with the wisdom of your soul. Our intuition is saying something is up, but we have been so distracted with that, the things in the phone and looking at everybody else's drama, that we are like the frog in the pot slowly boiling because we are not looking at our lives, who we need to be, what we need to do, how we are the change agents, not victims to what is unfolding around us. We have to keep our eyes single and focus on our truth. If we really look at it, like the guy said, you go into a lot of stores, there is maybe only 2 checkout lines and all of this automated stuff. We have accepted that. We are going along with the program of that.
I don't do self-checkout. Unless you're going to give me a discount or a paycheck, I'm not going to be your checker. But you're right. We've gotten used to it. It's been normalized.
Yeah, but it's been placed on us, and we just accepted it, and we are not. And it's not just about the checkout line. That's just a major dynamic. But there's a lot of things that we are being complacent about, where it's real important for us to look at how are we change agents, and how are we complacent in our own lives and procrastinating about the vision we have for ourselves and our home, because it starts with us. It starts with the choices we make on a daily basis about who we are willing to become.
Okay, so okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm. I thought you were, go ahead, Land. I thought you were wrapping that, because I got another question for you, but I want to make sure you finish your thought.
I'm good.
Okay, so we're going to answer this after news, traffic, and sports, since you don't, when we come forward, since you don't have to leave me right this second. But Miles and I don't know if you heard the conversation, we're responding to this song by La Russell, which caused so much controversy that he ended up shutting down his social media, which has been the mainstay of his marketing strategy. And basically, to summarize, he says, Hitler is heaven sent, Malcolm is heaven sent, Martin is heaven sent. Who else did he say? Epstein? Epstein was heaven sent. And so we were debating on whether is a God that creates, does God create an Epstein, or is there a special evil factory for that? And we got into a whole philosophical debate about the role of evil in the world. But also I'm thinking, as I'm listening to you, Saharah, that La Russell's reaction is very much Aries stellium, because he kind of shut down his social media and gave the world the middle finger. Looking forward to hearing what Saharah has to say about this debate. And Miles, when we come forward, you can frame it. You can frame it a little better than I did. We'll talk to Saharah about this profound philosophical conversation we're having on this post-spring equinox Aries stellium when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask Ask your doctor about Sky Rizzy today and visit skyrizzy.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZY to learn more.
Where you eating at? Hi, I'm Greg Doolin, inviting you to a special celebration of Women's History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrima. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
This March, we're turning up the volume on the women who changed everything. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to celebrate Women's History Month, honoring the trailblazers, truth tellers, and game changers who shaped our world, our culture, and our community. From the freedom fighters to the firsts, from the boardroom to the front lines, from the unsung to the unforgettable. All month long, we're celebrating the stories, the voices, and the conversations that remind us that women, Black women, have always led the way. Don't miss a moment. This is our moment. This is our story. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580, Los Angeles' home for the conversations that matter.
I'm your girl, you're my girl, we're your girls. Won't you know that we love you?
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
And Saharah Ali is still with us. We're making her do a little double duty. Miles, you want to give a quick summary of what we were talking about as far as good and evil here, since we have our astrologer, yogi, and meditator-in-chief of First Things First on with us?
First of all, what up, Sar? How you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Miles. How you be doing?
Look, I feel amazing with a capital A. Just breaking down some hip hop with my girl Dominique. Shout out to LaRussell. If you don't know Sahara, LaRussell's an independent artist. He's big on the scene right now for kind of reinventing, revitalizing the whole direct-to-consumer, out the trunk kind of narrative of selling, mixtapes and, CDs direct to the consumer, putting on his own shows, promoting himself. Recently just signed a deal, though, his first major deal with Jay-Z and Rock Nation. And while doing a backyard performance, sold-out backyard performance, by the way, in front of his fans, he ended a freestyle with, listen, man, nobody's perfect. We're all heaven sent. I'm heaven sent. Malcolm X is heaven sent. Dr. King is heaven sent. Hell, even Kanye West is heaven sent. Hitler's heaven sent. Donald's heaven sent. Epstein's heaven sent. Adolf too, and he kind of went down that rabbit hole of, trying to list it, and then ended it off by saying, even you're heaven sent. So lipping us all in together. And he got a big blowback for that on the internet and went around deleting his social media accounts over the weekend. Me and Dominique were talking about the difference between good and evil, and where LaRussell stands on the middle of that line. Am I right, Dominique?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my position is, I think he's right. We are all made by God, and whether we choose to do good or do evil is part of our free will choice on this planet. And I think Miles thinks I'm giving him too much credit for being a philosopher, that he just had a dumb take.
I think he just
he should just apologize.
I think he's just an artist. He's
keep it pushing.
He's a freestyle rapper. He's an artist, and sometimes you get on a great point, and you just going, and then you just don't land the delivery the right way. You don't stick the landing. I think there's just another example of LaRussell not sticking the landing.
But it brought, and more than just being about only LaRussell, it brought up a really interesting conversation on YouTube and among me and Miles about, evil and its role and good and evil in general.
So how do you guys not think that his performance might have been heaven sent? to start this type of conversation, which is very needed for us to be discerning. And I agree with Dominique. We are all individuals blessed by God to be here. It is our consciousness and our free will choice that makes us evil because we step against the divinity that lives within us. And so it is important that we have this conversation. I don't think that it's right that he counseled himself out, because we need to have this conversation, because it's like the frog in the pot. We are accepting evil, and we have allowed evil to have a station, and evil is heaven sent for us to reframe our perspective about the value of who we are and what is heaven sent, and how are we stepping over the evil within us by not empowering ourselves and allowing evil to have power over us. So I'm with the brother. I'm cool with that. But at the same time, I think it is heaven sent that he has sparked this whole uproar about people rethinking what is evil and what is good. And, you know, we all have a little evil within us. I'm not condoning, I'm not condoning Epstein, Trump, or Hitler, or any of that. But if you look at, we are in a time of waking up. And when do we wake up? When evil is sashaying in front of us and has disempowered us or have angered us and have pushed a button where we then rebel. Any other way, we just are complacent and we accept things. So I think it's very necessary.
So even if it is a dumb take, and you know what I mean, and he really didn't think as deep as me and Miles were going with it, you still think he could be a tool of the divine to make us think about it.
Yes, especially with Mars in Pisces right now. You know, Saturn is in Aries, Neptune is in Aries, and so Neptune is what's hidden, okay? Aries is let's go fight for what's right. So the universe may have allowed this young man to say this so that we can reframe where we're standing and look at what's right and what's wrong and take a stance on what we're going to do to make things right. We are complacent. We have stopped fighting. Malcolm fought. King fought. And I'm really hurt that they just did Chavez and even didn't put somebody else in that place. It's like everybody is digging up dirt and everybody wants to stone somebody, but nobody wants to look at the other side of the coin. Where there's shadow, there's light. Where there's light, there's shadow. And where do we find the middle ground to think of what is truth? Truth is truth. Reality is reality. And so, yes, like Dominique said, everybody has a mother. Everything comes from divine creation. And what we do with that, with our vanity, our ego, our selfishness, our greed, that's what makes us evil. Emotional mismanagement, arrogance, ego, edging God out. Ego is edging God out of the equation. So Hitler edged God out. Trump is edging God out. You know, Malcolm and everybody else tried to bring God in. But what happens when you bring God in? The ones that edge God out will kill you. And so, yes, I think the young man was used as a tool to help us have this conversation so we can rethink what evil is and what divinity is and how are we going to stand in our own divinity and where have we edged God out, where we exercise a sense of evil, not only to others, but to ourselves. When we are complacent, when we are not motivated to be on purpose with our truth. You know, I understand that, you know, this is a time of a major shift, closing old cycles and moving us forward to clarity and purpose and bringing spiritual insight to shift all relationships to build a foundation that opens a new chapter in all of our lives. You know, and I like to say, we are the new change agents. We are the map makers, and we are the new elders and keeper of truth at this time. So it's real important that we understand that we have celestial influences, talking about astrology stuff, because we are in a cycle where a lot of things from the past are going to repeat itself. And so if you understand that history repeats itself, and we understand that it's time for us to recreate history, you know, it's time to build a different perspective and know that transformation is inevitable and that magic is in the air to protect us and to guide us and to deliver us to our higher good.
Okay, we got to leave it there, Saharah. We're up against news, traffic, and sports. You're welcome to stay with.
Let me I'll stay with you.
Okay,
I'll stay with you.
because we're up against it. Bottom of the hour, news, traffic, and sports. Then more, only right here.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Chicago's Black Mayor Brandon Johnson abruptly fired Black Deputy Mayor Gary Gatewood, who oversaw violence prevention efforts amid allegations of a hostile work environment.
There is a culture on the 5th floor where if you work to hold people accountable, you become a target.
The shakeup is raising concerns among community leaders. Black 4-year-old Zuri Dixon died after being stabbed during a domestic dispute in southwest Atlanta. Police say her father, 34-year-old Rashad Dixon, was arrested and now faces multiple charges, including murder and cruelty to children. And Bay Area founder Nikki K. Lopez has launched Caregiver One Call, a free 24/7 nationwide support line designed to close the care gap for Black families. She says Black caregivers face disproportionate emotional and financial strain, and the service offers round-the-clock guidance and culturally informed support. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Baja Fresh on Thursday, April 2nd for National Burrito Day. Grab a Baja Burrito with chicken for just $5. Fresh ingredients, bold flavor, one amazing deal. Available in-store only on April 2nd, so don't miss it. Eat well, live fresh at Baja Fresh. Valid at participating locations.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The season is over for the UCLA men's basketball team. They lost to UConn Sunday night in the second round of the NCAA tournament. UConn beat the Bruins 73-57. The Bruins finished the season at 24-12. There will be a new national champion in the men's tournament. Florida, the defending national champion, was upset Sunday by Iowa 73-72. Iowa is one of 6 Big Ten teams advancing to the Sweet 16. In the NCAA women's tournament, UCLA and USC have second-round games tonight. USC is at South Carolina, 5 p.m. tip-off on ESPN. UCLA is at home against Oklahoma State, 7 p.m. tip on ESPN. UCLA is going for their 27th straight win. The Lakers and Clippers are on the court tonight. The Lakers are at Detroit. The Lakers are trying to extend their winning streak to 10. The Clippers are at home against Milwaukee. A win puts the Clippers back at 500. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, Ahmad supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. Ahmad provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
They say time flies when you're having fun. The founding members cohort is now officially over. Hard to believe. It's been a joy sharing what I've discovered after nearly 40 years of conversations with presidents, cultural icons, and game changers in every field of human endeavor. If you missed the first cohort, the good news is that we're already planning the next one. Now the seats will be limited, and those on our waiting list will receive exclusive early access and special discounts not available to the general public. So, if you are ready to transform the way you connect, lead, and build trust, do not hesitate. Go to TavishTalks.com and join the waiting list today. That's TavishTalks.com. The next cohort is coming. Make sure you are in the room. I'm Tavish Smiley, and I hope to see you there.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, me and Miles were going back and forth during news, traffic, and sports on this very topic. I got like 3 more questions I'd like to squeeze in, so maybe we can all do the Cliff's Notes versions of what we were trying to say. What were you saying, Miles? You were reacting to what Saharah said.
I'm saying, like, that's my exact point is that I think LaRussell, most artists, most rappers, most people in general can benefit from wise counsel. Like a Dominique or like a Saharah Ali, because she put a lot of paint where it ain't on his raps. That is not what he specifically said. And even though I agree with her, I feel what his intent was and, what he meant to say and his actual points. And I do trust his, I trust his spirit. I trust his head, his mind, his heart was in the right place, just as being a fan of the man. But you do need to clarify, offer clarity, and like Saharah said, I think that the biggest mistake he did here was remove himself from the conversation, because it is a conversation to be had. And I do agree that, what are you saying, Donna?
No, I'm just saying we're doing short versions because I got questions. I got questions for Saharah, but Saharah, you were trying to land on something about your point and this good and evil debate, and you saying maybe he was being used to make us talk and think.
Right, because it's Aries season, and so this is spiritually enhanced to create a new beginning and to open our eyes to things and bring opportunities for higher realms of consciousness and rebirth. So we're all being challenged to examine our belief system and to look at what is the truth that we live by? What do we stand for? And so sometimes we need somebody to maybe have a foot and mouth disease moment, but I still feel like the brother should stand on what he created. I mean, he came this far, he's going to shut down everything, and I think that's cowardice. If you stand up for what you believe in and whatever falls out your mouth, be responsible for it.
Whatever falls out your mouth. I was wondering if his reaction, just like the conversation, choosing wisdom, you've told me this a bunch of times lately. I hope I'm listening more, which is to be wise and not be emotional. I feel like shutting down the social medias is emotional rather than wise, and his kind of response of going F you. I see that with the president too, sitting up here, just going off, talking about Robert Mueller was terrible and he's glad he's dead, and claiming he had talks with Iran, and Iran is like, we ain't had no talks with this dude. It's like that energy that you're saying where someone says a lie and then we immediately find out the truth, or someone says something they can't back up and then they immediately turn and run away. And I guess the question is, how do you even regulate that when you're a LaRussell and you're suddenly taking all that smoke? Or you're Trump and you're suddenly getting called out by a whole country. How do you stay in that?
So let's put everything in perspective, because everything is energy, everything is a vibration. Globally, on all levels, and I was just talking to one of my clients yesterday, and then I was asking, my Zen master husband with all his PhDs and everything, and my question was, what is the foundation of evil and racism? And he's Mr. Wise, cool man. He said tribalism. I said tribalism. And then he broke it down. And so, we have to think about the barbaric dynamics that exist within all of us. And before I go on that tangent, Trump is a Gemini. He is a distorted Gemini with a lot of malefic planets, meaning that they don't coordinate together in his chart. He is not connected to what falls out of his mouth. He feels invincible and feels like there is no consequence for anything that he says or does. What is happening, that mentality and witnessing that, there's a trickle down. So a lot of people are feeling like they're invincible and not responsible for what falls out of their mouth.
Yeah.
And so we have this unconscious, energetic vibration of violation and entitlement that we are all dealing with. Because I can't tell you, there's so many people, like the audacity of people feeling like they have power over any of us. We have power over ourselves. That's what I'm saying.
Not all
Be wise, not
Geminis.
emotional.
Not all Geminis.
Not all. I'm just. I was trying to just give you the history of Trump's chart.
No,
Not
I'm just
no.
playing.
It's Trump's chart. Not all Geminis, because my husband is a Gemini. Okay, it's like not all. It's the Trump mentality that is eroding the integrity of this planet at this time, because it's giving a subconscious image that we can be irresponsible in our words and our actions.
Yeah.
And so
I saw someone, wearing
out.
a shirt. Don't let your president get your butt kicked, because
Right.
people start
Exactly.
acting in that way. So I wanted to ask you specifically the stellium in Aries and the Pisces Mars situation. Does that have a special impact? All these planets in Aries, how is that going to impact the Arieses? And then I think Saturn just moved on top of their heads too.
It's everybody, because you have Saturn in Aries, Neptune in Aries, Venus in Aries, and the Sun in Aries, okay? So Saturn is the taskmaster. Saturn is the disciplinarian. Saturn is exalted in Aries, meaning that it is time for us to wake up. That's the spiritual perspective of Saturn in Aries. Neptune is in Aries. It's like we have to be responsible for the vision that we keep and hold, and the vision and the story that we tell the world, because Neptune is our inner vision, it's our outer vision, it's our spiritual beliefs. And then Venus is there. And Venus in Aries is in a deterred position, because Venus is love and it's ruled by Libra, it's opposite. And so Venus in Aries is people are tired. People want to go and slap people upside the head. We do not have the love in our heart at this time with this Venus and Aries planet, and we don't have the patience. It's like, this is why I'm saying be wise, not emotional, because emotions are high, and we will step over the wisdom of the consequence if we are overly emotional. And that's the example of what the rapper just did.
So it doesn't have a special impact on the Aries. You think it's just the same for everyone?
It's everybody. Aries need to be extra, extra careful, but it's for everybody, because Saturn and Neptune are there. These are big planets, so that vibration is big and looming. But the other thing that everybody is stepping over is that we have Pluto in Aquarius, okay? Pluto has not been in Aquarius for 2,000 years. And so with Pluto, and we've never lived through this. So Aquarius is Uranus. It's expansive. It's big. It's Saturn and Uranus together. So we are in a paradigm shift, and we have an opportunity to reinvent how we are going to behave as humans on this planet. And we are stepping over the expansion in the real war that is going on, frog in the pot, technology.
Okay. And
how we have stepped over our humanness and losing all perspective of our emotional management.
And then the transit in Pisces, same question. Does that have a special significance for Pisces?
Yeah, it's for everybody. Mars in Pisces sets up the revelation of deception.
Okay.
So believe people when they tell you who they are. And don't go for the okie dokie, because it's too good to be true, then it's too good to be true.
Okay. And then also wanted to ask you about the equinox. It's spring, right? Spring is sprung.
Right.
That one bit of good news, spring is here. The days are going to get longer.
Well, spring is a time of rebirth, transformation, and healing and new beginnings. And it's in the call to action is to shed winter and give birth to something new. Our focus is to look for fulfillment, to let go of the past, to build some new priorities, but really to step in the beauty and the gift of being authentic and realigning yourself to the light of spring to plant some seeds for a grand harvest for the future. So it's real important that we let go, clean out the closet, clean out the purse, clean out your mind, have a different attitude, reframe how you're willing to be, because it's time to be empowered. It's time to reap the fruit of our soul, and to also benefit from all the souls that stood on the front line for us to be in this moment, to have a choice, to have free will choice.
Yeah.
I want to put this out there. And it's going to sound real crazy, but Spirit gave it to me in my head, and so I'm going to put out there. James Brown said it best. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door. I'll get it myself. Well, the universe has opened up the door. What are we willing to create?
Yeah, that doesn't sound crazy. I think maybe Senator Lindsey Graham needs to hear this show. He was on TV talking about we need more military intervention in the Middle East, and you want to talk about FAFO, mess around, find out. If it seems too good to be true, I feel like that if that transit was a person, it would be Iran. Miles, did you have a follow up? I know you were going in on LaRussell and this good and evil thing, and I just want to make sure you had a chance to follow up if you had a follow up.
I want to thank Saharah Ali for aligning it, with the cosmos as well, to let us know that it's not, it's not necessarily one person. It's more just the times that we're living in to kind of make us realize that we do need to look at these low level conversations and arguments and social media posts and think and understand that it is a shadow of the higher light. So definitely take it higher level and not just stay so down low. And I think when you do something like that, like my man Paul saying in the chat room, that gives us a room and space to give somebody like a LaRussell a grace and understand that there's still room for growth in this whole thing. We're all in this together, and we all are having sin.
I like what Morris said, too, in the chat. He says, a frog in the pot means folks don't move when we should move. It's getting hot in here, remember? I like what he said about that. Saharah, we took up most of your hour. Is there anything you want to add?
Be blessed and be on purpose and believe people when they tell you who they are, and be wise, not emotional, because there's a consequence for lack of emotional management at this time. And it's prevalent. It's going to be there because after this Aries season, we got Taurus season, and Taurus is the bull. Somebody going to get hurt.
Okay, we're going to get prayed up. Like you always tell us, get prayed up and go to a sound bath. You got one in a week, right?
We just had one Saturday, but it's real important that everybody come and get an individual check-in, because all of this is a lot of personal energy that is being transformed, which is going to have a global effect. Just like we saw the young man, it was a personal effect, but it has a global impact.
Yeah. Well, Thank you for all of the conversation. Thank you for going a little deeper with us this morning, Saharah. I was like, we're having this philosophical kind of sound healing session. They're wonderful. Or a reading. You can call Elise, her assistant, at 213-628-9783, 213-628-9783. You can go to SaharahAli.com to get the latest on the sound bath. Just get there on time. Saharah, thanks so much.
Blessings and light to all.
And it is much needed. We'll continue this conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. So, who's really paying the price? Scores of people dead and counting. Over 9,000 homes burned to the ground. Entire neighborhoods in Altadena gone. The Altadena Eaton Canyon fire is one of the deadliest fires in California history. And Edison's own CEO told investors the company has not identified any other possible source of ignition. In other words, they started it. So, what does the man at the top walk away with? Pedro Pizarro took home $16.6 million in cash, stock, and other compensation last year, a 20% raise from the year before. Let that sink in for a moment. A 20% raise, while families in Altadena are still sifting through the ash. Now, Edison will tell you they cut executive bonuses by 40%. Sounds like accountability, right? Wrong. 6 senior executives lost an estimated $2 million in bonuses. On the very same day, the company reported $4.5 billion in profit for 2025. $2 million out of $4.5 billion. That math ain't mathing. That's not a penalty. That's a rounding error. And here's the part that should really make your blood boil. Over $1.6 billion in damages from a previous fire that SCE equipment started is now being covered not by the company, but by SCE customers just like you and me through rate hikes. The victims of utility failures are being asked to pay for the utility's failures. Sickening, shameful, disgraceful, reprehensible. You choose your own word. The people lost everything. The CEO got a raise. The company posted record profits. And your electricity bill is going up. As you well know, KBLA Talk 1580 has been out front and unapologetic about demanding accountability for SoCal Edison. But this is far from accountability. This is the system working exactly as it was designed, just not for you. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. The midterm election campaign season is here now. The 2028 presidential election is right around the corner. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. It's all in for 2026 and 2028. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Yeah, well, we do have a lot to talk about, and we kind of went down a rabbit hole there. I think it's important, though, because when you get to so much evil in your face, like where we are right now with our country, these kind of philosophical conversations become kind of important, really important. I set out to talk about the Justice Department trying to drop those charges on the officers that killed Breonna Taylor, that were responsible for the death of Breonna Taylor, and how it follows a pattern of what they've been doing with the charges against officers in cases large and small all across the country, which tracks with the president's executive order called Unleashing Policing. I think it's terrible, ghastly. There are civil rights charges that were in motion against these two officers because they were part of that no-knock warrant delivery that ended up with the murder of Breonna Taylor in 2020. Now the Department of Justice is asking the federal judge to drop those charges. They did it on a Friday. They think they're slick. This is filed in the Western District of Kentucky, and they say it's in the, quote, in the interest of justice. They're saying the Biden administration weaponized federal overreach. No, this is what we've seen time and time and time again, where the federal government has had to step in because state and or local police officers, district attorneys, and juries have Jim Crow methodologies. Where would we be with the Rodney King case had the feds not stepped in? That's not the weaponized federal overreach that they're describing. It is, in fact, one of the few ways that we've been able to get justice in this country. But now the script is flipped. The Justice Department is literally being run by white supremacists. So the feds will not save you from local racists or local craven agendas. If you were Ruby Bridges today, you would have no protection. If you were Ruby Bridges today, you would have no federal agent walking you to school when locals were jeering and did not want black people in public schools. Because what they're calling overreach by the Justice Department has been the best role that our federal government has played in justice is following up on these civil rights cases. Well, today, our Justice Department is urging white men to file grievance charges based on their illusionary perspective of discrimination and trying to get charges dismissed in the killing of Breonna Taylor, who should be alive today. And it's just another indication of where we are as the president speaks out one side of his mouth, claiming that he's had these great talks with Iran and we're going to resolve the war right away. And meanwhile, he's not going to stop deliveries of Iranian oil. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that he's just trying to get a hold on gas prices and buy himself some time. And so, because otherwise it makes no sense. Why would you go to war with people because you say that they're about to attack us and they're evil, but then lift sanctions against their oil while you're bombing them? It's not just chaotic. It's not just not having a strategy. It's actually crazy. It's actually counterproductive. It's actually being at war with yourself, which is kind of what this whole Middle East situation has devolved into, right? Because Russia is supporting Iran and fighting us. So we're basically at war with them. At the same time, Trump has this chummy chum relationship with Putin. So are we at war with them, or are they your best friend? Is it a proxy battle with Iran, or is that your boy? And, that's the same contradiction we've seen in Ukraine, where we're supposedly aiding Zelensky and the Ukrainian government against the imperial ambitions of Russia, but yet that's his BFF. That's one of his boys. They may or may not have compromising information on the president. So these conflicts, and I know the United States having contradictory statements, what we say in a public-facing way versus what's really happening is not new, but the level of bipolar public policy is something I have never seen in my lifetime. I don't care how many of my progressive friends say this is what the U.S. has always done. And, everything being backwards, upside down world. The Department of Justice is now seeking to drop the civil rights cases against these cops, even though a judge already defanged a lot of the charges against them to begin with. That pot is getting kind of hot. The frog is about to be plated and covered with sauce. And the frog is us. I guess maybe that's where that saying "we're cooked" comes from, right? Being that frog in that pot. And the Trump administration trying to reverse the gains of 2020, trying to reverse the gains of the civil rights movement, trying to reverse the gains of the women's rights movement, putting a Christopher Columbus statue back on the grounds of the White House after we pulled it down in 2020, and saying in this administration, Christopher Columbus is a hero. Turning back the clock, not just to pre-civil rights, pre-women's rights, pre-correct history, but I think prehistoric is where we're going. It's the caveman administration. Speaking of, let me not do that. It's a messy Monday. I think we're about to be emotional and not wise on this messy Monday on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Jeffrey Wood with BIN News Now. Chicago's Black Mayor Brandon Johnson abruptly fired Black Deputy Mayor Garion Gatewood, who oversaw violence prevention efforts amid allegations of a hostile work environment.
There is a culture on the 5th floor where if you work to hold people accountable, you become a target.
The shakeup is raising concerns among community leaders. Black 4-year-old Zuri Dixon died after being stabbed during a domestic dispute in southwest Atlanta. Police say her father, 34-year-old Rashad Dixon, was arrested and now faces multiple charges, including murder and cruelty to children. And Bay Area founder Nikki K. Lopez has launched Caregiver One Call, a free 24/7 nationwide support line designed to close the care gap for Black families. She says Black caregivers face disproportionate emotional and financial strain, and the service offers round-the-clock guidance and culturally informed support. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Baja Fresh on Thursday, April 2nd for National Burrito Day. Grab a Baja Burrito with chicken for just $5. Fresh ingredients, bold flavor, one amazing deal. Available in-store only on April 2nd, so don't miss it. Eat well, live fresh.